On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks get a win against the Knicks, but are all wins created equal? Is this another one of those wins? We'll talk about that. We'll talk more about the trades that were made official on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions.
It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. The best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, leave a 5-star review, and comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section what's one thing that stood out to you against the Knicks in this game. Joining me, as always, after a game, the post-game prodigy. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
I think this is going to be an interesting episode. Because we're just talking before, Nick and I might disagree about some things today.
Coming in hot today. We will talk about the trades. The trades were made official by the Mavericks in the middle of the game, and so we'll talk about those trades. And there may be an extra episode. Since the trades are official, I'll just say there may be an extra episode this weekend where I talk to somebody who's allowed to talk about the trades. So check back in for that one. But we'll talk about those trades. We'll talk about the players that got moved. And then let's start here with this Mavs versus Knicks game. The Knicks don't have any starters. Jalen Brunson is out for this game. Julius Randle is out. Mitchell Robinson's been out. OG Anunoby's out and will miss a couple of weeks now. Missing a bunch of Isaiah Hartenstein only plays 15 minutes because he may have torn his Achilles in the middle of this game. That was wild. Taj Gibson was out. Only could play 22 minutes or else he was gonna die. I think. I don't think he was gonna make it. Jacob Toppin only got to play. He only could play 11 minutes because I don't know that he was fully prepared to play.
I have something embarrassing to say about him.
You were in on him in the draft.
No. I was watching this game and they showed him on the bench. They're like, "Oh, Toppin," and Toppin hasn't played much. And I literally go, "Wow, Obi Toppin is really out of the rotation." And then I was like, "Wait a second." So for the first 2.5 quarters, I was like, "Wow, they are just not playing Obi Toppin anymore at all, huh?" I was like, "Wait, Obi Toppin's in Indiana."
The Knicks essentially had 7 players in this game. 7 players in this game. And the Mavs just couldn't put them away. And so this game frustrated me. What about you?
It was a little bit frustrating. I mean, I thought the Mavs played well, though. I'm walking out of here with my head held high. Look. The reality is, too, Grant Williams was a DNP tonight. He didn't get any minutes. No, but the Mavericks were without 3 rotation players too.
Honestly, from the comments and tweets and posts that I've read, Grant Williams not playing on this team was a big win for a lot of Mavs fans, and I find that kind of sad.
They just look different tonight. I don't know if it's we know that they have a new trade, so it's all right, let's go. But the energy and everything kind of just felt different. I don't know if I'm not saying it's Grant Williams got traded, so they're like, "Oh yeah, Grant's got." But I think it's more so if you're on a team and your front office says, "Hey guys, we believe in you. We just traded future first and everything to go out and get upgrades." You're like, "Oh, okay, cool. Let's."
Well, yeah, the team got invested in, and also these guys are here. They don't have to worry about getting traded anymore, right? The Josh Greens, the Derek Jones Juniors, the Tim Hardaway Juniors. They don't have to worry about. Kyrie was never worried about it. Luka was never worried about it. But
Maxey even maybe.
Yeah, sure. They don't have to worry about getting traded anymore. They're like, all right, we're here. Our future teammate Spencer Dinwiddie is sitting. Former teammate Spencer Dinwiddie is sitting behind the bench.
What do you think about that? Is that just locked, written in stone?
Yeah. So all right, we'll do this now. So Spencer Dinwiddie was seen sitting behind the Mavericks bench, essentially next to someone who many people asked if that was Theo Pinson. It was actually Reggie Atatula.
I didn't know who it was.
No, it's not. I was
about to be like, all right.
But Spencer Dinwiddie got traded to the Raptors and got bought out. So he is available right now. The Mavericks are in on it, according to Mark Stein, and then the Lakers are in on it, according to several reports. I think Dave McMenamin was the first on that one. But yeah, he was seen talking to Mark Cuban at one point. The Mavericks can, according to CBA Mavs, the Mavs can offer more money and more dollars because they're not, an apron team and all that. There are certain teams that cannot sign him. I talked about that in the episode with the trades. There's, a bunch of teams like the Nuggets and the Heat and the Suns and teams that you would expect. And the Bucks, they just can't sign him because they're in the second apron. And Dinwiddie made too much money this year. What a problem to have.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Dinwiddie was hanging out and they're like, hey, our future teammate. The Mavs could sign him in the buyout market, and that would be a pretty decent get for him.
No, he's I think far and away the best buyout guy that there is. Yeah, I mean, far and away. So, yeah, I guess if it comes down to I don't see why the Mavs wouldn't be the logical choice, because I think the Lakers maybe give him more of a guaranteed more of a guaranteed role with playing time. But
if they're done with Gabe Vincent.
Yeah. Right, yeah, if they're done with Gabe Vincent. But if, coming here, especially with Exum out, and we don't even know what's going on with Exum. Is he going to be back soon, or is he?
Well, it was a plantar fasciitis thing, and now it's a knee thing, which is sort of it's traveling up the leg. Soon it'll be a hip thing.
Yeah, before too long, it's the shoulder, and it's just like, oh wow, okay. It's
who knows?
Taking over the whole body.
So, but they do need another ball handler. They do, because these Tim Hardy Kyrie lineups are they're killing me. I just can't deal with it. They were decent in the first half, and then they just got destroyed. It felt like in the second run in the third quarter when they had them together. But
offense is so crazy in the NBA. We could sit here and be like, what terrible offensive showing, and they scored 28 in a quarter. And it was like a rough quarter for the Mavs.
Well, they scored 122 in the game, and we're like, oh, they just couldn't get enough. They just couldn't score enough in this game. They did go on kind of a run at the end. My frustration with this game, though, is they just couldn't put them away. It did feel like the Mavericks were a little bit looser and freer. It's probably because they're playing against 7 bench players on the Knicks. They're, also where this team has a problem putting away teams like that. You're playing a team where you just don't know the context of what they're going to do, because this is a lineup that you've just never seen before. And so that's kind of weird. They're all hustle guys, like, Josh Hart grabbing a ton of rebounds, Precious grabbing a ton of rebounds in this one. But to me, I just got frustrated because of the lack of offensive system. Just the Mavs can't strategically put teams away in these certain moments. The third quarter, they come out that, the Knicks only scored 23. So it's not like they were going crazy, and the Mavs only scored 28. And if you could put them away in that third quarter and make it like a 30-point lead or something like that, 35-point lead. This is what good teams do. And this is why I get frustrated, because the Mavericks have not taken that step to be like, all right, we're a good team. We put teams away. We take care of business like this. And instead, Luka has to play 40 minutes and has to go off for 39. Like, what's the stat about Luka scoring 40 and the Mavs winning? Like, it just seems like it was another one of those games where unless Luka does that, they don't win the game even.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also another way you could look at this, though, where you could say,
tell me, I'm ready.
Look. The Mavericks were putting this game away. They were up 20 at one point, like going into the fourth or right around the fourth. You could say, all right, Dante DiVincenzo was hitting shots that you had to see to believe. I mean, he's on an incredible tear lately with all these guys out, just raining threes. He went 7 of 12. And honestly, were any of those, especially towards the tail end of the game, like that open?
Was one of the first ones he hit on Josh Green right before Josh Green dunked over him? Did he give him the too small in the corner? Because I swear I saw him hit Josh Green with the too small.
A too small on a three? The too small has slowly progressed further. It used to be like a dunk and then a finish. Then it was like jump hook. You're too small. You're too
I saw
little.
Booker do it on a mid-range jump shot.
Yeah, it's been slowly progressing. I'm waiting for the full court heave, one of them to go down. The first player quotes him. Too small. It's like, dude, I didn't even contest.
Too small. No, Dante did go crazy, and he did hit a bunch of shots. And if he doesn't go crazy, then the Mavericks do put it away.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Sure. The Knicks, the energy started to shift, and these threes were dropping. And you're like, oh god, here we go. And then Luka just comes in, and is like, all right, the game's over. I'm taking over. I'm a super mega star.
But they had to do it like, all right, we need to do this now. They cut it to the Knicks cut it to 9 at a certain point, and they're like, all right, we just got to do this now. And then they finally do it. I was just frustrated with, there's also one problem that the Mavericks need to fix. They need to trade for a center and a wing, like a 6'7" wing with a 7'2" wingspan. Like, they need to do that. They also need to get a 7-foot center back from injury. But the rebounds were awful in this game. And the Knicks weren't huge either, but they rebound the heck out of the ball. 14 offensive rebounds for the Knicks, only 6 for the Mavericks.
Well, that's been look, there's that problem that I mentioned before. I don't know how much. I mean, size will definitely help. Miles McBride had 4 offensive rebounds. This team does not box out. No. This team is one of the laziest rebounding teams you will see. They don't box out. They just stare at the rim. They just hope the ball bounces right into their arms. They just have to do a better job at that. They have to do a better job at finding a guy and just putting a body or just bumping somebody, just making sure that guys on the perimeter aren't able to just waltz right into the paint and grab offensive rebounds.
You know what's going to help that? Some size. If 3 of their front court guys are going to come back now with the trades being made official, Lively hopefully coming back soon. So hopefully we'll see that. But coming up, let's talk about how the Mavericks actually did close out this game and win. What do we see? Who impressed us in this game? And then we'll talk about the trades and a little bit more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. eBay Motors has you covered with all kinds of parts for your car. And our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with the GOAT of Locked On Fantasy Basketball, Josh Lloyd, to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week. Go check out some of his picks this week. Our old friend, Taylor Hendricks, who Isaac and I really wanted to draft. I'm glad that they didn't, and glad they didn't do that. Taylor Hendricks with Simone Fontecchio and Kelly Olynyk gone. Hendricks is a top 10 pick. Could find a larger role down the stretch for the Jazz. I think he will find a larger role down the stretch. So Josh says this player could help your fantasy team. That's part of eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. So check out Taylor Hendricks for your fantasy team. And then while you're at it, check out something for your car. You need parts for your car. You've got to replace something. You've got to fix something. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly with brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever your car needs. Check it out. And you need to get it at eBay Motors with that eBay Guaranteed Fit. It'll be guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber and not cash. You don't have to worry about it. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking in. Hopefully you watched the trade reaction show. I did that. I also did Locked On NBA, where we reacted to the Mavs trades. We're going to do it again here in a little bit, too, to talk about those trades. But the Mavs won this game because Luka's amazing. 39 points in this game. Throwing insane passes, too. 11 assists for him. The Mavs also had 30 assists as a team, which seems high to me, which is talking about your more free-flowing play that you were mentioning earlier. But Luka did that. I felt like Kyrie was just kind of floating around, though.
Yeah, wasn't the best Kyrie game, but just missed some shots he would usually hit. I mean, it happens. I don't think he was, like, terrible or anything like that. 17 shots is fine. He
can float around and still be good.
That's
exactly the thing. But we just didn't see that same aggressive Kyrie that we've come to know. We need Leslie McCaslin to interview him before the game and remind him that he needs to be more aggressive.
What is the deal with his whistle? I mean, it is kind of crazy how little he goes to the line.
It's wild. Well,
I know that he plays with a lot of finesse, but it's still just like he has so much finesse that there's no way he's not getting fouled on some of these.
They were not calling fouls a lot. And what was the stat where he had 30 in the last game against Brooklyn? He had 36 points and 0 free throws. That was
he hasn't shot a free throw. He has shot one free throw total in the last 3 games.
Yeah,
that is insane.
They were letting a lot of contact go in this game. Luka was trying for it. Like every game, Luka tries to hunt those body fouls at the beginning. Like, all right, let me just test to see if we're going to get these today. And he wasn't getting them.
Yeah, true. That is the Luka thing. That's the thing about Luka with the refs that I think goes undernoted, because everyone talks about the defensive part. There are times offensively where he's like, no, I'm getting this foul call. And I'm going to continue to go at it. But no, he was great in the second half. How many points did he have in the first half? Like 12, 13? I mean, it was a scoring barrage from Luka in the second half of this game.
12 in the first half. He had 12 in the third quarter, and then he had 15 in the fourth.
And that 3-ball that was like abandoned him early in the game. I think he was 3 of 10 or something to start.
Finished 7 of 14.
Yeah, I mean, that's MVP level stuff right there, folks. It really is.
And 4 steals.
5 stocks. Only the 5th time in history that stat lines happen with 5 stocks. There you go.
Is that real?
That's what StatMuse said. 5th. They said 5th.
I don't trust StatMuse at all. I've looked up several things on StatMuse, and then I go look at somewhere else, and it's wrong.
I need to know what their defensive rating numbers are, because people will have like 170 offensive ratings, and I'm like, what is their formula for? Is it like per 200 possessions? Are they doing some new groundbreaking formula?
Forgot to divide by 2 or something.
Yeah, I'm like, how is that even possible?
I thought Derrick Jones Jr. had a nice game in this one. It was good to see him bounce back. I don't know that he's going to start going forward, and so I'm interested to see what his role is going forward on this team. But 18 points, 5 boards, 3 assists in this one. Went to the line 7 times too. Like, that's a real positive. He was aggressive.
Yeah, no, 7 free throws. Wow. Yeah, well, he likes that little rip and go catch, immediately attack the rim, and that little spin move. Like, he's been aggressive at the rim. I like it. Even if it's not going up for a dunk, it's going through traffic.
Because his 3-ball has not gone down at all. He hit 1 tonight, but I mean, he has not hit threes at all since the beginning of the season.
This was the first time he scored double-digit points in like a month. So
wow.
Yeah, nice to see him have a good game tonight. I mean, I I get what you're saying because I was feeling the same frustration where it's like, man, can they just put this game away? But the Knicks were just pesky, man. I mean, I'm looking at the box score and I'm just thinking, I don't think the Mavericks played poorly at all. I really don't. I feel fine with this game.
You know what really frustrates me about a game like this?
What?
Can I tell everybody? I look at this team and you go, all right, where's the talent level? Where's the okay, Precious, I guess, is like a bigger, wing guy. Like Josh Hart is an undersized wing. You got Miles McBride as a small guard. Then you're like, if this team can play defense like this, can like limit the Mavericks to do things that they don't want to do and like limit Kyrie and do that. Why can't why are we always talking about the Mavericks lack of talent and size all the time when you can play a team like this and all of a sudden go, man, such good defensive effort from this team. It's like, where does that come from? Where does it come from?
The Tom Thibodeau coach team. I mean, Josh Hart's a good defender. Precious is okay. My God, Deuce McBride played 45 minutes.
This is what I'm saying. Deuce McBride is smaller than me.
They scored 122 points. You're acting like they scored 104.
I know.
But okay, if Dante DiVincenzo, you take 3 of those just absurd threes away. Just 3 of them. The Mavericks win this game by, let me do some quick math here, a lot.
It's not about what they ended by. It's what they cut it to 9 with like, they cut it to single digits with like 3 minutes left, and you're just like,
no, I agree. The start of the fourth quarter, I was really hoping that Luka would not have to check back into the game.
That's exactly what I would hope for in a game like this, where you're playing against 7 players.
Yeah. It really was 6 by the end of it because Toppin was not on the floor and Hartenstein was injured.
Tom Thibodeau also realized he wasn't Obi Toppin.
It was just hilarious to me because the announcers like it looks like the teams are emptying their bench. The Knicks had 1 guy at the scorer's table ready to check into the game. They're emptying it out.
They could have signed Spencer Dinwiddie.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, everyone's just saying the Mavericks. Like, could the Knicks not go after Dinwiddie? I guess not after getting Burks, but
they could have used him. Yeah. So, but anyway, they won the game. You appreciate that they won the game. You just get frustrated by like, all right, if this is a good team, they blow this team out, and Luka doesn't have to play the fourth quarter. But they're just not there yet, and they're missing guys, sure. But you have Luka and Kyrie. You gotta blow this game out. All right, let's talk about some of these trades because they got made official. PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford. What were your initial reactions to? Let's do the aggregate of both of those trades together.
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Which is good for me. Good. Get Dinwiddie, we can bump that up to 7.5, I think. Bordering on
Dinwiddie's worth half a point.
Well, I do. I would actually really love Dinwiddie on this roster, honestly. I think it would make a lot of sense, especially with Exum in and out the rotation. Another legit ball handler who has been good here and is not afraid of the moment or anything like that.
I just want to turn Tim Hardaway's game into ball handling, and that's what Spencer Dinwiddie does, and so that's why I'm for it too. And so like I'd be down for it too. But I like these trades. You look at a game like this and you go, man, bigs would really help. Maxey had a really good defensive game in this one, like really good defensive game, had 4 blocks, and still just like they were getting to the rim no matter what. Like, God, it would just be nice to have a couple of bigs and to have Maxey as to play a big lineup. Yeah, with Lively and Maxey or with Gafford and Maxey, like it gives you a lot of versatility with what they got.
Yeah, I'm really interested in the Gafford one because it's just funny to me. This team has just not cared about centers, and they've tried to like mix up their centers. Where all right, we'll have like one drop big in JaVale McGee, but all of our other centers will be like either offensive minded or someone we could switch. And now we have 2 drop bigs. Like we're gonna do the drop thing with Lively when he's on the court. We're going to do it again with Gafford on the court, and we're going to spam pick and rolls. Like that's going to be it. They pretty much are, I wouldn't say identical players, but they're very, very similar, Gafford and Lively. So they're just saying, this is what we do. We're going to spam high pick and rolls. We're going to drop on defense, and we're going to try to limit offensive rebounds from here on out. And that's how we're going to play.
And that's why you need a Dinwiddie too, because if you're going to spam pick and rolls all the time, you can't do it with Hardy. Well, I guess you can do it with Hardy a little bit.
Hardy had a nice playmaking game tonight. I mean, 1 assist, but I thought he made some nice passes in his limited minutes.
But you can't do it with Tim, right? Like you can't do it. Can't do it with Tim.
You can't do it with Exum.
And you no longer have Seth to do the Tim, Seth, Hardy when one of Luka and Kyrie are out.
Did you talk about that?
Seth again. Coming up, let's talk about the fun, like the weird stuff in some of these trades because I didn't get into a lot of it. But let's do that and more coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Nissan. So much car stuff today. Check out Nissan. They have the cars that help you push your riding and driving a little bit further. Our friends at Nissan have a lineup of SUVs with the capabilities to take your adventure to the next level. Check out the Nissan Rogue, the 2024 Nissan Rogue. Perfect for cities and great escapes. If you're just like, you know what, I'm sick of watching this Mavs team. Got to get out of town. Or I got to get out of town to go watch the Mavericks if you want to go see what their next road game is. Gone are the days of connecting your phone. Google Assistant, Google Maps, and Google Play Store are built right into the 12.3-inch HG touch screen infotainment system. Infotainment. It's giving you both things. The 2024 Rogue is the perfect midsize crossover for your next adventure. Also, check out the Nissan Pathfinder. Room for 8 expansive cargo, advanced capabilities, and you have 284 horsepower, up to 6,000 pounds of towing. All that when adventure calls, the Pathfinder is there to answer. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or the Nissan Armada to go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Slightly, let's talk about these trades, and let's talk about like the weird stuff that happened in this trade. For example, Seth Curry signed with the Mavericks 3 times now. Him and Devin Harris, the only players I think in NBA history or whatever to sign 3 times with one team. And he gets traded. Now, he did not get traded 3 times. I've seen that a bunch today. Seth has not been traded 3 times by the Mavericks. He signed with Portland after the first time, but he has been traded twice by the Mavericks. Signed 3 times, traded twice by the Mavericks at this point in his career.
It kind of makes me feel bad because wasn't he sad the last time he got traded?
Yes.
Oh man, that makes me feel a little bit sad. But you know what? There's a spin on it. He's going to a hometown, and his dad is on the commentary team. So it's not like they did pawn him off to Charlotte pretty much, but there's at least some family ties there.
He's making $4 million
true.
this season. So, and he gets to go play on the Hornets where I'm sure he'll get shots or
he'll get bought out and go to a contender or something.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he could do that too. He was also not having a great season. He felt like he was struggling to find his role in the Mavericks. The Mavericks needed what he could bring, and it didn't work. The Mavs lose Grant Williams. Are you sad at all about the Mavericks losing Grant Williams?
Well, I'm shocked. Like really? I actually am shocked that they did it. I mean, that just feels like something that they would have at least tried to see out, just like the Mavericks teams of old, or at least the vibes that the team usually gives off. That we'll just try to see this out. We gave him 4 years. It was a big signing for us. It was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And they gave up like a pick swap for it. And I'm a little bit surprised they cut bait so quickly. But no, I'm not like overly sad.
It felt a lot like when they got Grant Williams, because when they got Grant Williams, they threw Bullock in the deal. Like they could have thrown somebody else in the deal and like made the salaries work. Like I can't remember exactly what the salaries were at the time, but they could have sent somebody else. And instead they sent Bullock, and you're like, oh, why don't you just try to keep Bullock with Grant? And instead they're like, no, we'll just upgrade this spot. And they just did it again. I wish they could have figured it out with Grant. The problem is Grant really can't play 3 either.
Yeah.
And so you bring in PJ, and now you got 48 minutes of 7-foot centers, and you got Maxey still. You're just like, there's just not a lot of minutes to go around for you to figure this out.
Right. Yeah. And I do think that, you just said it best. It hasn't worked, and the fit was a little wonky, and the idea made a ton of sense. Like I know it's hindsight, but it's not like they were clueless, and everyone was pretty excited about it at the time. And again, the fit made sense on paper, and it just, for one reason or another, didn't work out. Grant's 3-ball abandoned him. From that point forward, it was just kind of downhill. And so the Mavericks said, you know what? We don't have really time to sit around, and PJ Washington's there. We'll just go get him.
Yeah, and it felt like his confidence was kind of shot after he got sent back to the bench. Yeah. After his 3-ball stopped going down, it felt like he lost some confidence, and his game you have to have a lot of confidence if you're like a undersized, bigger, like slow guy. Like you've got like Luka, he has all the confidence in the world all the time. You can't shake him of his confidence ever. Yeah. And like it's just tough if you're gonna lose that, if you're that kind of player.
Can I also I saw people say, trying to trash the front office, that the Mavs could have gotten PJ Washington in the summer and didn't. They couldn't have.
They couldn't have.
He signed for over the mid-level. Like that's just how it works. I mean, they could have signed and trade for him, I guess, but it just wasn't possible really at the time.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how PJ Washington fits and how he plays. Everybody said nothing but good things about him on his way out of Washington, or on his way out of Charlotte, which is good to see. On the Gafford side of things, I'm interested to see with Daniel Gafford how he fits, and like if there are times when he starts, and like if Lively's going to miss some more games with this nose thing, which I was hoping he's going to come back for this game, but if he's going to miss some more time, then like he can spot start for sure.
I would hope so. I would hope Gafford is I was comparing Gafford to, like, it's funny because they were both on the same team. Gafford is like the center Tyus Jones, where future starter, it's all right. He's like maybe league average or below league average, and he's not something you're looking to upgrade immediately, but it'll be nice to upgrade. But if he's your backup, you're feeling really, really good. He's like one of those high quality role guys who could start for sure, but
all right,
off the bench.
Steven Adams out for the season. Maybe Isaiah Hartenstein, but let's not put him down before. Is Gafford like the next best backup center in the league besides those two guys?
Well, I forgot about Hartenstein, honestly. I'd probably go him number one.
It's Hartenstein, and I'd probably throw Steven Adams up there too.
Yeah, I guess if you want to count Steven Adams. You'd have to look at I would say Tice has been pretty solid for the Clippers, but I don't think you could put him over Gafford. So, yeah, I mean, he's up there. That's all Jazz. I mean, not the Jazz, sorry. The Magic, like Goga has been really good.
That's true.
In spurts.
Yep. It's hard to Okongwu has got to be up there.
Okongwu.
Like whoever. But all of a sudden, this feels like a strength of the Mavericks. Like they're centers all of a sudden. And that's a tough thing to be like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about the Mavericks having good centers all the time.
Well, I've seen people wonder if maybe they just start him outright and have Lively come off the bench. I don't think there's any way. And then one of the big reasons why I don't think so is because I'm working on Gafford, some Gafford video. So I did watch one Gafford game.
Yeah.
And he's just not in the short role. He's nowhere near as dynamic as Lively, which is crazy to say already about a 19-year-old. But that's like a legit strength of Lively. And the way the Mavericks play, knowing Luka's going to get blitzed on those high screens, like you need a guy who can pass comfortably. And I don't know if Gafford has that. So that'll be interesting to see how they sort of combat that.
That's what really separates Lively from a lot of just like generic centers in the league is that ability, especially on the Mavericks where guys get doubled all the time. That's a huge thing. His ability to, when Luka gets doubled, he runs to like the free throw line and gets the ball and then kicks it out real fast. Like just makes a split-second decision. I can't talk about that enough. Like I feel like I say the same thing every time, but
I mean, it's shocking how good
so
he is
impressive.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how that looks, but I'm excited about it though. I really am. And no, Lively and Gafford can't play together. I've seen some people ask that.
No, I saw that a lot in the chat on YouTube, and I was like, oh man,
there's just literally I can't imagine the scenario in which
Lively all of a sudden starts shooting like 36% from three. Like he just starts like chucking, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, well I guess I can see that.
Lively at the 4. The only scenario in which we're on the floor together is like late game we need a rebound, like off a free throw.
That's right. Yeah, let's just throw the rebound group in together.
Yeah.
Gafford also will wear the number 21. Can you name the last Maverick that wore the number 21?
God, I'm so bad at numbers. I'm just not even going to try. My guess is Frank Ntilikina's in my brain.
People forget about Frank.
Oh, you nailed it. You nailed it. I brought the drop back and everything because I saw that.
All right, great. I'm happy. I was even scared to say it because I was scared to be like, no, Frank was 53. And I'd be like, okay, I don't know why I thought that.
You nailed it. You nailed it right there. The first name you mentioned. Yeah, he's going to wear 21, which was Frank Ntilikina's number. PJ Washington will wear 25 still. I don't know. People care about that, I guess. I guess if you're going to buy a jersey, I guess.
Frank Ntilikina has 5 points scored in his last 5 games, all in one game.
So, here's another thing that I was talking about on Twitter earlier today. The difference in the roster from a year ago to now, like literally one calendar year, go from before the Kyrie trade to now, basically. The Mavericks rotation was, these are the guys that have been on the roster that have been here for over a year. Luka, Tim Hardaway, Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, Maxey, and Dwight. All the ones that have been around for a long time, which is wild. One of those is 21 years old.
Yeah.
In one calendar year, Nico Harrison turned Spencer Dinwiddie, possibly, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Christian Wood, JaVale McGee, Davis Bertans, and Theo Pinson into Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derek Jones Jr., Dante Exum, and Omax.
I mean, this is why
Pretty good.
I'm going to take a victory lap here because people have been just trashing the front office after the losses. And I've been on here saying, guys, it's been a process. Like, just look what they did in the summer. They signaled to you, we're going younger. We're going more athletic. We want size. Like this is a point of emphasis for us. And it's a process thing. And this is, I mean, just on paper, we haven't seen PJ Washington or Daniel Gafford play a game yet. This feels like the deepest roster in the Luka era fairly comfortably. Like 1 through 10, you feel like you're getting at the bare minimum a very solid NBA player. Where in the past it's been like, once you get to the 9 spot, it's like you're really in major specialist territory.
Well, because you upgraded in one rotation player with Grant Williams to PJ Washington, and then you just added one outright, basically, because Seth Curry and Rashawn Holmes weren't really playing that much, and so you add one to Daniel Gafford at a great position of need in center too. So that's big.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with what they did. I was kind of iffy on giving up a first for PJ Washington, and I'm still kind of in on that. But I got talked into it. It's gonna sound like I'm coping. I got talked into it yesterday because I was seeing arguments on Twitter about waiting around in the summer. One, a guy just might not pop up.
It's true.
And two, you're going to get outbid by a lot of teams. Like teams are going to go into the summer locked and loaded with picks, ready to make moves. Because the trade deadline, I know we've had crazy trade deadlines in recent years, but that's usually not when teams swing for the fences.
Yeah.
Summer
not enough time left.
Right. There's not enough time left. And teams, especially these young teams that are loaded with draft picks, they want to see what these guys have. The Thunder want a playoff run before they make a big trade. They want to see, all right, what's Chet look like in the playoffs? Is Giddey just going to be an unplayable player in the playoffs? My opinion is yes, he's going to end up being that. Yeah. But, they want to see it. I guess like the Magic even too. It's like, all right, what does this team look like? Even like a team like the Pelicans, they have to be like, can we just see what this group looks like in the playoffs? Because we have not seen it ever.
Yes. And this is where the Mavericks are. You can get really like, oh, they have pick swaps and having pick swaps with the Thunder and Spurs 4 and 6 years from now is not great. Like that's not a really good thing to have, but you can't think that way. You know what turned me around from all that, like thinking through, oh, they spent a first. Oh, they only have 2 firsts. I was listening to Bill Simmons. I just skipped to the Mavericks stuff because I was like, let me just listen to Bill. And he was like, I don't know. Spend a first on PJ Washington. Is he worth a first? I don't know. And then I was starting to think, and I was like, they were talking about a LeBron team. They wouldn't care. No one cares about first round picks when you're on a LeBron team. Why are we not talking about Luka teams the same way we talk about LeBron teams?
Wait, you didn't do Bill Simmons any justice?
What? Do you have a Bill Simmons voice?
Russello, PJ Washington for a first. I'm just not so sure. The first round pick piece, I think Luka's going to demand a trade.
Yeah, I was watching some film of him the other day, and you sit and you watch him and you see the plays and you're like, I just don't know if it's there for him.
Right. Could they not have got LeBron? I just don't know, Russello.
He wants to play with Kyrie. I mean, we've heard it. It's like not a secret around LA. Like you go around to some of the spots and like Segundo and Laguna and you talk to some people around here and you just talk to a couple people and that LeBron wants out and they couldn't get it done.
That's pretty good, Russello. That's a pretty good one. No, I don't really care about trading. I mean, there's just a risk you have to take.
You got to take that. You got to spend. You got to spend money to make money.
And I just don't think that they were. Who are they getting for? You look around and who are the Mavericks outbidding with 3 firsts? That's not going to be a gross overpay in the summer. That would be my thing.
And didn't they have more holes than just one player?
Yeah, true. And so now you can start to look at it and say, okay, could Lively as he develops, are we comfortable with him being our 3rd best player? Maybe. When we really are wanting to win, are we comfortable if Lively takes a step in year 2 and is our 3rd best player? Do we think we're good enough to just go after role guys? Or do we still want to package these guys together to try and get... And here's another thing, too, you have to keep in mind. Gafford and PJ Washington will be tradable players.
Yeah, they're only 25. They're signed for 2 more years.
Yeah, and not bad deals at all. Those are guys you can trade and use in trades moving forward. It's not like you're stuck. They're on your roster permanently.
Yeah, unless it's another Grant Williams situation or another situation where it's okay, this guy's all of a sudden unplayable. But I don't think it's going to be a Christian Wood, JaVale McGee thing again.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Appreciate you hanging out with us this weekend. Again, I will be back probably tomorrow with a surprise guest. So we'll see. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.